How do I start this thing?
Have you plugged the bloody USB in?
Yeah, it's in.
Nah, man, that's the wrong port. Oh, wait, it's flashing now.
It's recording.
Well, let's start this thing, fool.
Hello, everyone. I'm Amelia.
Hi, I'm Sam. Welcome to Ask the Duo podcast, a podcast where we get deep into those late-night, unfiltered conversations.
We'll be discussing all things lifestyle, relationship, mindset, and more.
All right, let's get to it. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hello.
To another one. We've got a special guest today. My sister, Anita Fung.
Hey, yo, what's up?
Today's episode is going to really introduce herself and talk more about her specifically, because for the guys that don't know, she's probably one of the hardest working ladies that I know in my life. And I do extremely respect her in terms of how she's grown over the number of years in her professional journey outside of the personal life that I know of her. So, Anita, please introduce yourself for the listeners especially. What do you do for work and how you've gotten to this point?
Cool. Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Anita and I'm a business development manager for Australian Unity Bank.
Damn, girl.
It's not that prestigious, to be honest. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But generally what I do is manage a group of mortgage brokers in Queensland, basically right up to the North Queensland all the way down to basically as far as Tweed. So it's a very, very big sort of area, and I have had a lot of experience in terms of dealing with all walks of life. So there'll be a lot of people that are extremely adaptable to, you know, wanting to see BDMs, to people who particularly have their own process and do their thing, and they'll call me if they need me. So
yeah,
been in the industry for a really long time, so I don't know if you want me to go into...
That's 20 years, yeah?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
it's a long time.
Yeah, 2 decades, bruh.
A long time.
2X.
Been around for a very long time. So I basically did my marketing business degree, specialising in advertising, actually.
Me too.
Yeah. So I don't know how I sort of landed into advertising, but I guess that's what fate's all about. And once I graduated from university, I basically landed my first full-time role at Suncorp Bank, Suncorp Metway at the time. When Metway and Suncorp merged, I remember starting...
I forgot about Metway.
Yeah,
it's been that long.
Yeah, that's it. So started there basically in a call centre. Yeah, so I started from the bottom, now I'm here. So, yeah, just basically worked in the call centre environment, then moving into the branch land, predominantly in the retail area. I did some time in wealth management and in the product area as well, so writing product specs for products in the banking side of things. And then I fell in love with the fact that I love the third-party space. I really enjoyed working with mortgage brokers and third-party agents, and basically did a bit of credit assessment to sort of help me along the way. And then here I am out in the field selling the banking products that I know really well. So, yeah, so I started off at Suncorp, had a good 9.5 years there.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, on and
almost
off.
long service leave.
Yeah, well, on and off because I had the kids who are teenagers now, and then basically moved over to Bankwest, which was owned by the HBOS company, which was a UK company. So, and then they sold it off to CBA.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's been a really good, rewarding career with Bankwest. About 7 years with those guys.
Damn, 7 years.
7 years, yep. And then before you know it, I'm here doing what I do with Australian Unity. So that's pretty much my career.
So once you graduated, you were just looking for a job. You weren't really...
I wasn't specific, no.
Yeah,
no.
and then you just fell in love with what you did and you just tried to work up from there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and then we also saw you're award winning or being nominated for Elite Women and all that kind of stuff as well. What's that like?
Yes. So I'm actually waiting for my plaque to arrive.
Plaque as well.
I know. Look, it's really nice to be recognised in the industry. I think the industry that we all work in, especially mine in third parties, it's very hard to find good people. It's very hard to get help when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in this space where you've got heaps of banks, heaps of lenders, and especially for mortgage brokers, it's very hard to locate a bank or a solution for your customer and not have the help and the backup of a BDM. And I think the Elite Women was a great recognition, not just for myself, but for nationally recognising women who are, I guess, juggling the lives of being a mother, being a wife, being a colleague, and then also being a hard worker. Like that's really hard to do.
Yeah, it definitely is. How do you get nominated, or do people just kind of put your name in there, or do you need to submit something?
Yeah, you get nominated. So people in the industry would generally talk. It is a small industry, and I think a lot of people tend to have a nomination sort of process. So they'll have to go online and fill out a nomination form, and that gets sent off to the panel of judges.
Yeah.
And then they basically ask the actual nominated people to write a bit of a blurb about what you do and what makes you sort of jump out of bed every day. And that's exactly what I've done. I've sort of given them a summary of what I've done. They've looked at my profile as well and spoken to some key stakeholders in the industry. And, we managed to...
That's amazing. Because I can imagine how competitive that space would be too. Like all these other people getting nominated and getting the awards and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. What is it like being would you be classified as a state BDM, like a statewide BDM?
Yes.
Yep. So what is it like managing, I guess, Queensland and the scale?
I guess the difficult thing about being a state BDM is that in Queensland it's a very large area to cover.
It is, like if you look at the map, it's a massive land.
When I sort of compare myself in my previous role where I only just looked after a small number of brokers in a particular region, it just makes things a little bit easier. I know who I need to go out and see, and I know the sort of the area and the scope that I work within, right? So the difficulty about having the entire state is really understanding each broker and also their dynamics as well. So what their current client niche is.
Yep.
So I don't want to be everything to everyone.
Yeah, of course.
So in order for me to manage my time better, I really need to have a look at the scope of people that are writing good business, because you only want to deal with people that write good business.
Of course.
And write business that I guess would fall into the capabilities of our credit policy as well. How do I guess, give them the benefit of having my support? For example, I would spend a lot of time talking to them about their business and what type of clients they see every day, and how do I sit in their business. So I work myself around their business. And that's the reason why they come back and they would consider us as the bank as one of their best or top lenders that they'll use.
Yep.
Because they know who I am and they know our product and they know how we operate. And I think that's the key to managing the state as a whole.
Right.
What was the major difference between doing something smaller, as in regional, as opposed to state, like apart from like the scale and knowing the different, what's the biggest difference you notice?
The biggest difference that I've noticed is that it's very limited when you have just a region to look after. And the reason why I say that is because there are just so many pockets of areas that are doing well, and there's some pockets that aren't doing well. So, for example, in home loans is valuations. So if you get, say, Gold Coast, and there's particular pockets in the Gold Coast area that the valuations aren't very good. So they're always coming back 50,000, 60,000 short. Then that's where you're going to have some issues.
Yeah.
You won't be able to lend as much as you can. So then you don't become an option.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting.
Obviously, climbing up the corporate ladder is what everyone sort of says. Did you ever imagine yourself being as a BDM? Because obviously because you were previously credit.
Yes.
And then you were like a support.
I was a broker support.
Broker support, yep. Did you ever I guess before you transitioned into BD work, did you ever foresee yourself moving into that space? Because it is quite different.
It is very different. I never really anticipated moving into a frontline role. Being that I really enjoyed the credit role when I was there. I was there for almost 5 years. And assessment and structuring deals is what I particularly enjoy. But I also enjoy the client interaction.
Yeah.
So problem solving and, being able to make a difference to a particular client and helping them win that first home that they've been wanting to get into. So it's more the satisfaction for me than the job itself.
Yeah, because you get to help people.
Yeah, and I wanted to help people, and I think the nature of my personality is to help people, and I particularly enjoy that side of the role.
Yeah. So even from when you did the call center, did you ever imagine yourself to eventually be something that's like statewide or managing statewide? Or was that something that you've always...
No. I think when you're sort of young and you don't really have anything to lose, right, you sort of take things as it comes, right? So for me, the call centre role was a way to get into the bank. It was an opportunity for me to learn. It was an opportunity to work hard. And I think that's one thing that you really need to remember in any role is, it may not seem to be the job of your dreams. You make it the job of your dreams.
Yeah.
So you need to have stepping stone. You need to have those goals to lead you there.
Yeah. So did you have any milestones that you marked down that a career path or a career roadmap that you had in mind?
Yeah, look, over the years I have. So over the years, I've sort of encouraged myself to do a career development plan, really just list out what I'm good at, what I'm not so good at, what I can do better, what I can do more. And I think that's a personal approach, yeah? So really just trying to focus on, okay, so how do I get there? And I think the biggest thing I've learned over the years is the networks that you create. Take advantage of people that you meet along the way.
Yeah.
Never burn bridges.
Yeah, for sure.
And always show your genuine self. Because if you kind of look at it and go, well, so many people have held me along the way and I pay it forward, it's always a good rotation in life. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, because I see in both of your roles here that you guys can just reach out to people that you've met before and just kind of be like, hey, just catching up, how are you? And then just helping each other in any way that you need.
Absolutely.
Which is really cool because it seems like it's a really close, intimate community within the finance space. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's really nice as well. While you were growing and, hustling and doing that, did you ever have any, limiting beliefs for yourself that you kind of wanted to conquer and get rid of as you were growing? Because, as you're young, you kind of don't have that self-confidence. Did you have any limiting beliefs?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess for me personally, I really struggled after having children. And then just sort of coming back to the workforce. And I think this is a really important topic to talk about because I know a lot of women do struggle in this space. Am I good enough to go back to work? Am I good enough to apply for this job? Do I even have the skills to do this job? Can I actually do this job and also look after my children?
Yeah, I think that's really important. Not many people would talk about it or bring it up because they kind of keep it to themselves. Yeah.
They do.
So what was that like after you had kids? And
I struggled with it. I struggled with it. I think over the years I have very much had a self-doubt, and I think us women, as you would understand, we generally tend to doubt ourselves. And it really does come down to the fact that I had to start all over again. So, you know, when I had my first child, Jaden, he was very much an easy child, really. You know, he was just great. I can't complain about him. And I went back to work, and it was difficult for me because what was I doing then? I was the branch lender at Suncorp at Carindale.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very difficult for me because I went back full time. We had no option of going back part time or 3 days a week or job share. That does not exist at that time.
Yeah.
So I basically had to give up a lot and sacrifice a lot just to get back into work.
Yeah.
When you're working in a branch and you work in the 9 to 5, you don't have flexibility, flexible work hours. So having to do those late nights and having to go and pick him up from childcare and feeling really bad about it, and you know, the challenges of trying to be a good mum.
The mum guilt, right?
The mum guilt, yeah. And then you get the wife guilt because you come home and you're already tired and you can't cook dinner, and so you always feel like you're inadequate.
Just chasing your tail as well.
Yeah, constantly. Yeah. So it was difficult for me when I sort of had to experience that. And then I get really anxious when I had my second one because I'm sort of like, here we go again.
Yeah. Did it get easier or?
I think it got worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think the longer you prolong the process of having children, I find it harder to come back.
Yeah, because they have a sort of an age gap as well.
They do,
right?
yeah. They have got a 3-year gap, which I didn't want to have sort of a longer gap. I mean, Sam and I, we're like 9
years.
That's a lot.
Thanks, Ma.
Well, my siblings are like 11, 12 years gap, so...
Yeah. So you know what that sort of feels like, right? I really didn't want to have and sort of wait too long. But, you know, it really worked out. Once I had Jasmine, I basically was lucky enough to do a part-time credit assessment role. Yeah. Did that for a few years and then eventually built up the courage to get back into the full-time position and work on my career and things like that. And I guess the biggest thing for me is to have a really good partner.
Yeah.
Right? Because my husband was fantastic. He was like, you know, you've had the children now and you can actually now go and concentrate on your career, and I'll take a lot of that sort of burden off you. And so we were able to swap in a little way.
That's good.
So it really allowed me to focus on me, finding myself again. I think that's the toughest part of...
Yeah. So just another question on jumping back and being worried about all that and starting again. Was it mainly because of the time gap that you had off and you were worried that either you don't know what the industry is like now and jumping back in, like those kind of worries, or was it just really balancing the lifestyle of home and work?
Yeah, so it basically came down to the fact that during the time I had my children, there was no such thing as work from home or work flexibility. Yeah. So I struggled with that. And I didn't want to disappoint everybody. So for me, it's completely different now. I think we've really adapted workplace and
balance and stuff like that.
And all that kind of stuff. So I think for me, it was just having to struggle with, you know, being a mum, being a wife, you know, being a great employee and hitting my goals and hitting my KPIs and things like that. Yeah. So it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and going from not working and looking after a baby to like full-time work as well.
Full-time work, exactly.
Yeah.
During the time you had Jaden, if you had that work-life balance, do you think that would have changed everything for you?
100%.
Yeah.
I think I would have been much kinder to myself.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know,
Because that option of being, I guess, having that flexibility would have been there for you.
absolutely.
And that's, it's an overlooked topic when it comes to working. And that's a massive advocate that I always used to push when I was running my team, is to have that balance and that flexibility. We work pretty much 5 days full time, you know what I mean? So it's another family that you're with at work.
Absolutely.
And it's very, very important to have that balance where you work hard, you play hard, go rest, do your thing. So it does make sense when you're talking about like the struggles that you went through, especially in that earlier time.
Yep.
Because times changes so much. Like work nowadays, everyone's talking about work-life balance, the flexibility, working from home and that sort of stuff. So,
But it's good, you need that. Like we've mentioned so many times that if you don't look after your staff, right, and they're tired, they're constantly, just drained, they're not going to produce good work for you anyway.
Exactly
so
right.
it's better to
Yeah.
look after them so that they're 100% when they get to work and they're happy and they want to do the work, because otherwise you're not going to get good quality work out of it anyway. So it's better that you actually look after them, give them what they want, but making sure that they can still produce the work for you, like as a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
yep.
Another thing that I've noticed, being where you are, you also do a lot of networking and socializing. Were you always that social person, or did you have to put yourself out there to become more social?
Yeah. So I think people who know me personally, I've always been very social. I like to entertain. I like to have people over. I like to go out. I have a very active lifestyle. But from a professional perspective, going back to when I had children, no, I was very reserved. I was unsure. I wasn't confident. I was very much doubtful of my own, skills and yeah, it really took me a very long time to bring that side of it out. And yeah, once I sort of found out the whole business development role and what that entailed, that really inspired me to work on, doing public speaking and, going out and be able to present to people that I don't even know and make conversation with a stranger at the bar and things like that. So it really does build my confidence over the years. And I love it now. I love it now.
What are some tips for people who are in that position where they're kind of worried or don't think they have the confidence to step out there? Like, what were some things steps that you took for yourself to get yourself out there?
Look, I would say the main things to remember is just to be genuine in every interaction that you have, right? So for me, it was to surround myself with like-minded women and men too, people who are just good. And you would pick that up very quickly when you have conversations with them. And when you do start a conversation, it could be about anything. So it doesn't have to be about anything specific.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be work.
No, it doesn't have to be work related. And just really be yourself. And I think once people know and they could hear that you have your heart on your sleeve all the time, you're genuine, you're kind, you're out there to just get to know someone.
Yep.
And I think people will start, I guess, drawing themselves to you. They'll open up to you. And I think that's very, very special to have. And I thought I didn't have that in me, but you really need to believe in yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And just be yourself.
Absolutely.
No, that's a really good one. I really like that. Do you ever find yourself wondering what it would be like doing marketing, advertising?
Yeah, actually, every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Or like incorporate it somehow into
Well,
finance?
I mean, it's been, 20 years, right? So I kind of look at it and go, I've got so much creative juices that I'm just sort of like ready to pop out and be like, I could do this and I could do that. But I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where it's very hard to get into because of where we live.
Yeah.
So a lot of marketing and advertising roles are predominantly in Melbourne, Sydney.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. So when I sort of think back and I go, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could work for an advertising company and start writing, writing ads and, even writing music, because I was very interested in songwriting and things like that. Wouldn't that be cool to do that? But yeah, look, I think it's one of those things where I guess I've never really gotten into the industry, so I don't. It's all unknown to me, but I do think about it.
No, that's cool. Maybe one day we'll hear a song from you.
Maybe.
Anita Fung. Rap song.
Oh, jeez.
Beats. So any next steps, or what do you project that you'll be doing next from here?
Yeah, absolutely. My next steps in my career, I guess, really is just to become a good advocate for the industry. So I really want to represent this great industry that we all work in. And even just going back to what you were saying before, it is a community. It is a community. I don't want to see anyone in our industry struggle like I did. I really want to lift others, and I really want to inspire others to really find that this is a rewarding industry to be in. Don't lose sight in the challenges that comes across, whether you're a mortgage broker or whether you're a BDM, or even whether you've just had children and you're wanting to sort of come back into the industry. I mean, I want to be able to inspire others that way.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
it's
really good
to have that around.
Yeah.
So people can just come up to you or like chat on your LinkedIn and be
That's
like,
it.
hey, like got some few tips to help out.
That's it. Yeah, but just really want to be a trusted advisor, just to what they would call is a practice coach, or a practice development coach. So really, what is best practice in our world?
I think that'd be really nice.
I think that'd be a good add to the whole banking and finance industry.
I was going to say advertising.
I was going to say, what?
Well,
smooth, real smooth.
because I think that's lacking, to be honest,
I agree.
especially from a female's perspective. Because personally, what I've seen is banking and finance is basically dominated by males.
Agreed.
Not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's now we're seeing more females that are, doing well, successful in that space.
Yes.
It is lacking someone that's like yourself who's been through all that shit to provide that advice or just be that mentor to some
Absolutely.
degree. And I think that's a massive thing that's missing, and I've definitely noticed that in my years being in banking and finance is you don't see that someone sort of hold your hand or guide you.
Absolutely.
From a women's perspective.
Of course.
And even for a male's perspective, I don't think there's males out there
Just guidance in general.
to provide, who are genuinely providing that assistance. And I think that it's a big add to the industry. Yeah.
Would be definitely beneficial. And you being in that, growing into the career and climbing that ladder, the struggles and you understand that.
Absolutely.
And, any new people who are starting in the industry would feel exactly the same, and it'd be nice to have someone to lean on or just ask some questions. And like, even for me that not in the finance industry, it's hard to find people where you can just ask genuine questions and be like, hey, I'm thinking of this, or where do you think I could go from here? Like, just to
Absolutely.
ask those kind of questions.
Yeah.
So it will definitely be really good.
Yeah, look, I think it's important. I think with mental health and, health in general, a lot of people need that. A lot of people need to have someone there that's, have been around for a really long time, have sort of seen most things. And, sort of any concerns that they know, they can contact you or reach out and just ask a question or even have a coffee. I think that's really important because we need to do more of that. We need to talk about things a lot more.
Yeah,
We've got to be more open and communicating
Correct.
in that regard. I think that's what we're sort of lacking at the moment.
Agreed.
If money wasn't a thing, what would you love to be doing?
Ultimately love to be doing.
Ultimately, gosh, if money wasn't an item, I would retire right now.
And just chill.
I just I just chill out and, you know, I like to paint, so I'll probably paint all day.
Oh, yeah, I saw your like paintings and watercolors. They're really good.
I enjoy doing that. That really relaxes me. But look, I think for me, my ultimate goal or career role would just be exactly what I just said earlier, is just to be a mentor, you know, really just establish best practices for people in our industry and represent people in our industry, just to be able to go, well, if something's not right, you need to say something. And I don't think there's enough of that right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's not a voice that can speak when there are issues, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome to know that, you know, it shows your true self, shows that you are genuinely genuine, if that makes sense.
That's it.
Genuinely genuine. Very big vocabs there.
Yeah, bro. Outside of careers, is there any sort of plans for yourself? Because you said that you obviously enjoy doing art and painting, that sort of stuff. Is there any sort of hobbies or anything that you want to try, that you want to give it a crack, put yourself out there? Is it something that you...
With something is so far away, I don't like to sort of plan these things. Generally for me, I would just love to travel. My husband and I never really had the opportunity to travel. We had children quite young, been hustling since then, and you know, now that they're teenagers, I think one thing that I particularly would want to do is just travel around the world. Experience things with my husband and actually enjoy some of the things that I guess I was quite envious of others who you know, was able to do that quite early in their lifetime. And I think for me is to really concentrate on my health and getting back to, you know, 100%. Be able to just travel and experience life.
Where would be stop one?
Oh, Japan, 100%.
Japan.
It's one of the things that we're actually looking forward to. I'm going to take my son for his graduation.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah,
so
that's really good.
We'll probably go right up to the top of Japan and work our way down.
Ooh,
that'd be a good experience.
Yeah.
Is it winter or spring?
Well, we don't know yet. We'll see how it goes because they haven't actually opened the borders yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll have to plan that.
We heard it's opening soon, so
fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time for this one, and we really enjoyed all the wise words, and hopefully we'll see you when mentoring and helping people, and that'd be awesome. Actually, before we go, did you have a place where people could find you, like to reach out?
Yeah,
or
absolutely. If anybody
want to plug,
well, anybody that needs someone to talk to, even if it's someone that you can just sort of plan out your career plans or, you know, aspirations and things like that, or even if you're just interested in getting in the industry, please do reach out to me on LinkedIn. You'll be able to find me, Anita Fung. I'll be more than happy to have a coffee or even introduce you to many people that I know in the industry. I'll be more than happy to help.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. This is Anita Fung.
Thank you.
BDM from Australian Unity.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. If you have reached to the end, we really appreciate you for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please share it with your friends or family and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you are listening to.
Make sure you share any topics you'd like us to cover or questions you might have to our Instagram.
Slide it into our DMs.
Bigger. You can also stay in the loop of all the behind the scenes and the release of our new episodes there too. Our Instagram is Ask the Duo Podcast. That's AskTheDuo Podcast. Man, feels like I'm in a spelling bee competition right now. Alright, that's it for now, and we'll see you back here for our next episode. Bye!
See ya!